And it's unnecessary. You don't need to do that. The way you master yourself, the way you conquer yourself and wrangle in these concerns about being right, you remove risk because that's the underlying thing. See, it's not a matter of can it get to my target? Of course it could. It could go way beyond what you were targeting, and it could come back on your stop, and it could just consolidate where it's at. All those things are possible. But when the mind starts getting bogged down with the concerns of needing to be right, because you will punish yourself mentally if you do anything that leads to either stopped out or not getting to target. Because at that moment, here's what you don't realize, and this is what you need to be writing down in your journal. As soon as you get to that point where you're in troubled waters and you're now taking more attention to what do I do? What do I do? If you're asking yourself, what do I do? And it's becoming physical, like your breathing increases, the rate of your inhalations. Maybe you're getting heart palpitations, feeling dizzy, feeling anxious, feeling nervous. The answer to that is take half off. And what that does, it allows your mind to reset. You've paid yourself. Who cares if it comes back and stops you out? Who cares if it fails to get to your target? You paid yourself. The analyst is inside of you, maybe picking up on things that you've learned, but you're not registering that because you're not able to see growth like that initially until you go through these experiments of putting the task, submitting to the process, and then getting out there and seeing how you deal with it. And the analyst inside of you that's seen these things before is trying to tell you, hey, you're not ready for this. It might go there. Yes, it might go to your full target. Absolutely. But right now, here's the standard operating procedure. As soon as we start getting nervous and we lose sight of the plot, the way we regain that clarity, take half of the position off. Okay, Michael, what happens if I am only holding one contract and there's no way for me to take a partial off? You close the trade. That's it. But what if it turns against you? How are you going to deal with that? You're going to beat yourself up. You know you will. And to sit here and lie and say that you wouldn't, you're fooling no one. First and foremost, you're not fooling yourself. You have to guard your mind. You have to preserve that clarity. Once you gain it and you desensitize yourself to the outcome, you're not pursuing right. You're pursuing following your model. Those rules, if they're sound in their logic, they will preserve you if you're able to listen to the analyst in you. But if that analyst is trying to warn you, listen, buddy, you got out of the chair and the gambler has slip seated with you. You think you're driving, but you're not. You're riding shotgun with Retail Rick. And he's had a little too much to drink on St. Patty's Day. And it looks like he's aiming for the next fucking tree. So what are you going to do? Ask for the keys. You got to take that wheel back. How does that happen? Take half the trade off. And if you can't take a half, then you close the trade. And then you congratulate yourself. You give yourself positive self-talk that you identified that you were in troubled waters. You lost sight of what you were doing, and now it became an emotional roller coaster, which turns into a psychological arm wrestling match with you being and pursuing right. I was right. And what will happen is when you close the trade or take half off, one of two things are going to happen. It's going to stop you out and you'll feel what? Good. You'll feel good that you did that. But some of you won't feel good about that because you'll be thinking, I should have took everything off and I would have had a bigger profit. What are you doing there? Pursuing being right. Instead of saying, I took half off, it came back and stopped me out on the remaining portion, whether it was at break even or in profit, matters not. You're going to go to the calculator and say, this is what I had on the trade right when I felt like that. I should have did this. That's not how you grow. That's how you poison your perspective. You create and foster anxiety, performance anxiety specifically, because you're measuring every decision and placing so much emphasis on the outcome and it needing to be right. You don't realize you're putting yourself in this mental prison. You can't you can't work efficiently in these markets where you're constantly placing so many limitations on you, placing all this unnecessary weight on your shoulders that you have to be right all the time. You don't have to be right. You don't have to be right. You have to follow a sound model and stick to that. And as a derivative, a default, as a consequence to doing that, you will see results. And those results need to be completely detached from emotion or psychological need, the necessity to be right. And it sounds hard. It sounds almost impossible right now, especially if you're new. But those of you that have gone through these experiences because you've traded with real money or funded account, and you got out there and you realized you knew exactly what you were feeling. It was a reminder that you did this too soon. But hey, we're here now. We are here. We showed up. Now we're going to show out. And unfortunately, you end up losing your funded account or you blow your account because you'll let that one losing trade do what? Take you completely out of the game. Now you have to do something bigger, much more monumental because you have to get a feel good moment. And you'll over leverage on the next trade or you won't have a stop loss on because you want to be right. And you lose all clarity and you think that what you're doing in that next trade is going to pan out. You just have to submit to more drawdown, more time holding on to it. And what is happening is this: you are now holding on to a losing trade that you will not identify as, but you're going to be using the logic of your model, which is hold on to your runner. But because you took your eye off of the process of following that model, you're now applying part of the logic that you're using in trading, but you're holding on to the losing trade. You're submitting yourself to that trade, even though it's warning you and telling you, the analyst is talking to you, this is wrong. You know it's wrong, but you won't close it because you're not trading for profit now. You're trading for being right. You are arm wrestling the marketplace. That's what you're doing. You want to be smart in the eyes of someone else that you're going to share this with. And you're absolutely undermining yourself. And when you do more damage or blow the account, blow the funded account, your max loss day or whatever it is that takes you out of that, you will be miserable. You'll punish yourself. You'll relive those moments over and over again. And I can relive them all when I was 20, just like it happened yesterday. No one's going to be as hard as you are on yourself. You just aren't making it public knowledge to most of everyone that would be paying attention to you. Now, some of you make that mistake and you go on social media. Oh, this is hard. I'm always screwing up. You're inviting more people to confirm what you're feeling, which is going to do what? Anchor more weight to that negative result, which is going to do what? Create fear, anxiety, depression. And that's not how you grow. You have to know that what you're doing is not a pursuit of being right. In the very moment that you now have these impulses inside of you, that you have to prove something to yourself, or worst case, prove something to other people, you're not trading your model. You're not even trading soundly. You're gambling on the chance of you being right. You have to release all that. You have to stop doing that with your trading. You got to stop doing that with your studies. You have to submit to whatever happens as long as you're using the processes and protocols that you've adopted as your model. You're going to accept whatever the results are because you have done enough research to know that the things that you're trying to pursue repeat not just once in a blue moon, but they repeat almost daily, if not every day. Every day, the market's going to run for some hourly old high or an old low. This is the part where you start writing down notes, folks. Every day, there's an intraday range that has an old 60-minute high or old 60-minute low. In between where the market is at market price, whenever you're sitting down and looking at your charts, you want to identify them because there's liquidity there. This is the surest way for you to know that you can go in there every single day. Every single day, this is forming. There is not a day that this does not form. Okay? This is an everyday bread and butter logic. You mark out your 60-minute highs and lows. You wait for some shift in market structure that would be gravitating towards that old high or old low. Once you have a shift in market structure, using just what I taught in the 2022 model, you wait for a fair value gap. As soon as it trades into it, you engage. Half of the range from wherever you're getting in to that old high or old low, whether you're aiming for a bull move or bear move, matters not. As soon as it moves half of that range, half your trade comes off, stop the break even, and you submit to whatever happens then. That's it. That's all you have to do. That is a complete model. Don't risk more than 1%. It might be 5 handles, it might be 20 handles, it might be 30 handles. How are you going to know? The range between where you're trying to buy and where that old high or old low is. That fair value gap exists every day. Liquidity above old highs and old lows, below old lows rather, that's there every day. And you're complicating things. You're trying to bring all these things that I've taught, hoping that they're all going to do what? Allow you to accept no losing trades and be right all the time. And being right is a poison to a new developing student. Your goal is consistency. You want to be doing the same things over and over again, using a model that delivers consistently. Doesn't mean it's 100%. It just means over a large sample size. What's that mean? 20. 20 trades. 20 trades, you're at about 70% on side. That's a good measuring stick. But what happens if I'm not 70? You keep working until you are. And then once you get to that point and you're 70% strike rate, how can that possibly be, Michael? Come on. That's too high. It's unrealistic. All the books say, I'm telling you, don't read into those books. Those books are written by authors that has sold a book. That's what they're doing. They're selling you a narrative, a plot. They probably don't even trade with what they're writing about. I walk into these live markets, whether I'm sitting on Twitter tweeting out the very candles that to be looking for in the draw on liquidity, bending time and space to precision, and you see your chart printing it later on. That's not hindsight. When I'm on the live sessions, I'm calling the minute candles, explaining what's going to happen and giving you the narrative. This is what you're supposed to be doing for yourself. You create these little laboratory experiments and you go in every day. Anytime you get a chance to study, that's what you do. And every time you record what you're feeling, how you felt. And the goal is for you to have indifference. You can't simply just write the word in your journal, I was indifferent to the outcome. You can't fake that part. You need to be observing where you're feeling these anxious moments where you feel like you're in troubled waters. They will materialize in the same places all the time until you cope with that. You replace it with a positive habit. What is that? When you feel it, you kill half the trade. If you can't cut it in half, you get it all off, done. And what that allows you to do is you reset mentally and emotionally that now, okay, I've paid myself. I've removed a great deal of the risk. I've profited from it. And now I have a free look. I got a free bus ride to get to my target if it wants to go there.